Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Hey,
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome. All right. So, give everybody just a minute. We had over 50 people. So I'm going to give everybody just a few minutes to get started and sign in. Thank you all for coming. Seriously.
No problem. Thanks for thanks for organizing this. That's a great
Oh,
idea.
oh, you know, we're coming, we're here, we're coming from a place of desperation, and like I won't try to make light of this situation. I'm emotionally drained. We're all hurting right now. And we're here because you know somebody has to step up and just do what they can. Um, honestly, I made a post. I thought I expected none of this. And a lot of the conversations over the last 4 days have been about where do we go now that it's kind of been a snowball rolling down the hill. But the first thing I want to say to everybody on this call is thank you. You being here, um, it means so much to me. I know it means so much to all the Black Americans on this call who need to know that we love them and that we're here for them. Um, Black Lives Matter. That's why we're here. And I just want to say that I'm sorry that it had to be my voice to make something happen. I didn't want it to be me. Um, I didn't want to be the one leading this moment, but after a lot of conversations, some folks have shown me that I need to be here, and I'm okay with that now. So all that being said, we have a tremendous opportunity, and I'm admitting. Sorry, I have to manually admit everybody as they come in. I just wanted to say, we have a tremendous opportunity in front of us here. Never before have I seen such an incredible design team in one spot for a common cause. It's absolutely amazing. So we're gonna make the most of this thing. Sorry, I'm just making sure I have to admit everyone as they join. Something weird with Zoom. I'm not a big Zoom person. I'm a Google Hangout, which is what we'll probably do next time. Anyways, so let me go ahead and share my screen and tell you guys kind of what the plan is so far, because 4 days ago I made a Facebook post and now we have over 100 and it's about 150 people signed up on that forum. All right, so that is incredible. That is all of you, and I can't even believe this response. So let me go ahead and tell you though. So this Design for Humanity idea kind of came to me as an opportunity to pair seasoned designers with fresh ones to work on real world projects. That's something that's been kind of going through my mind for a while. My entire career is upskilling software developers from diverse backgrounds to work in tech. So I thought, why can't I do that for my design colleagues too? And I've been mentoring some folks one-on-one, but I kind of wanted to scale that further. And initially, it was going to be a startup to help develop content for autistic students like my son. But then I saw that on Saturday night, our cities were burning, and I saw, the death of George Floyd, and I couldn't really. I knew this is what we had to do. So that's how we got here. Let me just make sure I'm adding everyone to this meeting. So why is it important? As learning and development professionals, we know that working on real world projects under the guidance of seasoned professionals is the most effective way to hone a trade skill or craft. And right now, we have a group of the best designers in the world who can guide participants to get real experience on their resume, great portfolio samples, and open doors for them professionally. So we have an opportunity to really help designers. And we have an opportunity to make the world a better place too, I think, because we can focus this content on the themes of diversity, inclusion, and race relations, and make them free to the public. And in doing so, we'll also request a charitable donation to Black Lives Matter and the Trayvon Martin Foundation when folks download our content. Before I get into how we're going to work together, I'm just going to stop sharing to make sure I admit everyone to the meeting, because it will not let me do that from the screen. All right, there we go. So strange. All right. So how are we going to do this with so many people? So the plan is we're going to divide into agile project teams. We're going to break this down into groups of 5 or 10. What's going to happen is over the next week, the administrators are going to identify people we think could lead each team, and then enable them to select their teams with our assistance and pick which projects they want to run with. It's really beyond my scope and the scope of the admin team to micromanage every project. This is a volunteer effort. So the idea is we want to give each team the freedom to bring their unique creative vision to life, as long as it meets the kind of general guidelines we're going to give you. So let me tell you a little bit about what those common guidelines are. We want all of the projects to be asynchronous, digital, and hostable on a web server. I think that's pretty fair. So e-learning courses, videos, digital job aids, ebooks, those are all fair game. All content should be written to a 6th to 8th grade reading level. Think like The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This way, as we explore how this content could be used in a K-12 setting, we already have a foundation in place so that it can be adapted to certain use cases there. And honestly, that's the reading level I write to for my adult learners too. So I think it's a pretty safe starting point. The other point I want to make about these projects is that the content needs to be open source and approved for curation by the admin team. So any third-party content, like some of it's okay, but really this goal is to develop your own creative projects to help new designers kind of hone their craft and build some IP that we can share with the world. You know, we don't want to curate what's already out there. We want to build new experiences that put fresh perspectives on diversity and inclusion. And I've already seen some absolutely amazing ideas in the Slack. So I'm so excited to see what we come up with. Another question we've been getting a lot of is how much work is this going to be? That's going to be up to you and your project team to decide. I suggest maybe 10 hours max a week, whatever you can contribute. But how you work, when you work, and even really which Agile framework your specific team uses, whether it's Scrum or Kanban, that is up to you. All that matters is that you make tangible progress each sprint towards the completion of your project. And the fun part is at the end of each 2-week sprint, we're going to get together for a show and tell of what we created and have a nice little happy hour together to kind of, unwind a little bit. And the most important point, we're all in this moment together. I'm figuring this out as I go. What I did is I went out and found the smartest people I could. Some of the most incredible professional instructional designers, learning experience designers, and project managers I've ever known and met, and brought them in to help me stand this up. And I got to say, we had our first admin team meeting, and they're already jumping into action. It's great, and I can't wait to introduce them to you. We're going to do that via the Slack channel, and then one member of our team is going to speak shortly after I'm done here in just a second. But, we are still figuring this out as we go, but the important thing is that we maintain momentum and start developing projects now, even as we figure out the details. We can get started and refine with each sprint, but what's important is that we get started and we show the world that we're taking action. So yeah, I know my PowerPoint's not great, and this is definitely not the best Zoom call I've ever had. But like, none of us are in a place of comfort right now. I know I'm not. This is just, our desperation and our desire to help. So, before I get into this timeline, let me just make sure I've got everybody. Got one meeting. All right, perfect. Okay. Before I get into the timeline, I want to pause and give folks a chance to ask some questions and kind of share your feelings. So if anyone wants to unmute and kind of share their thoughts, go right ahead. And I'm here to listen.
So we're doing 5 separate projects, is what you're saying, or is it one collective project?
That is a great question. They are separate projects. There's well over 100 people, and it would be the worst group project ever to try to get us all to work on one thing. I'm not going to do that to all of you, but everyone here is talented, creative, and I know the instructional design business and the design business. Most of us are used to having a team of one. So I know that if I can pair up folks who want to lead a team with 5 or 6 people, that's a small enough group for you guys to come together and do something meaningful, and it not be so hard to manage that it drives everybody insane. So what we're going to do is we're going to share some common guidelines for the projects, and then we're going to divide into these separate project teams and work on them specifically. So at the end of these sprints, we're not going to have one course developed. We're going to have a dozen, we're going to have a lot of content, a lot of different projects. There's some really diverse and incredible ideas. There's already one project team around creating a VR experience, and the co-founder of that startup is sharing all of his tech with us in exchange for having some designers to work with. So I think some great things are going to come out of this. So, yeah.
I have a question about platforms. You said it needs to be hosted on a site. Are you going to have one central repository, like a kind of a marketing page that will have all the projects that can be downloaded by anybody who's interested, or will they be in separate sites?
No, that's a great point. So we're working on a few things right now. First, I want to tell you, this has got some attention. We have had a LMS and e-learning authoring tool vendor reach out to offer their platform and their tool. I'm setting up a meeting with them. I'm not going to give them any publicity until we vet them and make sure that they're not trying to use this as a PR moment. That's why I haven't really said the name or who they are, but the plan is to host all of this content and links to it in a common repository through an LMS, a CMS, a web server. So that's kind of the intent. Whether we end up going with a donor who wants to donate a platform, or we go with an open source platform to host this stuff. We'll figure that out. But that is the plan, that all of this content will be hosted and will be available to download through a charitable donation.
Cool.
All right.
Tommy? Yeah, hi.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, so is there any developers in each project team?
That is a good question too. So we do have a number of developers, not just instructional designers. We have UX designers, we have software developers. And one of the things we're going to do is assign the project manager, assign the team, and then work to make sure that each team has the resources they need for the project they picked. So we're going to the development focused teams. We're going to make sure that, we give them the e-learning resources we need, or if it's a mobile experience, we're going to make sure they have a UX designer. So we're going to make every effort to make the teams balanced so that there's a good diversity of skill set there to accomplish whatever the project needs. And then my goal for the administrator team is that as each team is working and you run into a problem like, oh, I need a developer, I need someone who can do this. You'll raise that blocker to us and we'll go out and find that person for you. There are literally dozens and dozens of people asking to be a part of this. And I capped the list so that we could manage the people who were already here first before we bring in more. So.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Sorry, just one quick question. Can you speak a little bit to the target audience? I know it's K-12, correct?
Yeah. So I want to give us some freedom in that. Initially, yes, I do. I would like to target a K-12 audience. If your project doesn't, if you have a project that you feel like you're passionate about and it doesn't, that's okay too. I think it's really hard to define what that looks like though, like in terms of content standards and things. I think so I could really use, if someone could give me some more guidance around how to narrow that down in a way that still enables the design teams to work pretty independently, I would really appreciate some guidance there. The biggest constraint I felt was to make sure that the content is written in an accessible way based on their reading level. But if there's other constraints we need to introduce to make sure the content meets those guidelines, I'd really love, put it in Slack or message me so I know what I need to add, basically.
Thomas, I think in terms of narrowing the projects down and keeping it cohesive and all of that, I think we need to stay focused on whatever it is that our partners need, if that's still going to be the strategy that we go with a partner.
Yeah, I think that's. I understand. I think I think the challenge is we're going to have a lot of projects. It's okay, don't even worry about it. And I want this to sustain itself beyond just working with one partner. What I would really like to see this evolve into is a vehicle to help upskill people over time. So I think all of the topics that we chose are pretty relevant. And I would love to, I think the easiest way to go about this, let me put it that way, is that we start working on the topics that we have, because it's going to kill a lot of time to do a bunch of upfront research. And what we can do is as we work with that partner, and iterate through each design sprint, we can start making changes and adaptations to make the content better suit their needs. So,
okay.
Sounds I think, good. Yeah. So it's like we don't really know who that partner is. We know the themes we want to work on. let's just start running in that direction. And as we get momentum, and that partner comes in, we can say, oh, hey, you know what? These 3 projects we think would really meet this audience, and hey, we'll go to those 3 teams and say, let's bring these 3 together. Let's make these changes, we'll go from there. But just that way we keep it in an agile way, moving in an agile way.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So if we're gonna make it that open, I can certainly advise on what would be relevant and useful for K-12, and I know there are others in the group with K-12 experience that could help with that.
Cool. No, that sounds great. And I think giving us that, the other reason I kind of wanted to open it up a little bit is that I know as a designer, I like having the freedom to be a little bit passionate. And I want everyone to enjoy this experience. It's for charity. It's supposed to be, a chance for us to come together and work on things we normally wouldn't get to in the corporate world. So I want to give you all a little freedom to breathe your own creativity into this. It's not something I want to micromanage. I would love to see just some amazing, I'd like to see the art, that we don't usually get to bring to design. So I think that's the way to go. And as we work with the right partners, we'll refine those things too. All right. So so I don't run out of time, let me tell you all the timeline that we're working with here. And then I'll give Nyla a few minutes. So as we move forward, over the next week, we're going to be offering some Agile training. I'm not sure if it's synchronous or asynchronous yet. We're still working on that, but we are going to give some Agile training around Scrum. We're going to tackle the team creation and the initial project assignment. That's next week.
Thomas, I'm building asynchronous Agile training.
Oh, you're amazing. So there you go. June 15th through the 29th, that will be our first sprint. And as you go through that Agile training, you'll understand more context around what that means. The 30th, we'll demo our work and have that first happy hour, our first sprint demo. And then we'll kick off the next one. And so I didn't go out farther than that, but basically we will keep running sprints until we've built out an MVP of each of these projects that we come up with. So that's the minimum viable product. And the reason that it's good to work in this Agile way is that, like we were talking about before, we don't know everything yet. We don't know all the details. We don't know all the details of the partners we're designing for, but this allows us to iterate and work on things in a way that we can make changes throughout the process. But it allows us to show the world that we're working on something now. We're not waiting around. So I think that'll be cool. So next steps, Nyla, you want to go ahead and take it from here and share your thoughts?
I was going to tell you, it looks like there's some people waiting. I saw it in the Slack. So I don't know if you have.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, while you're letting people in, I can go ahead and start talking. Hi, everyone. I'm Nyla. I know a lot of people in here already. I'm glad to see you guys. If you don't know me, I'm a learning experience designer and content creator, and I'm really passionate about mentorship, especially setting an example for other Black women looking to get into instructional design. I love what we do. I think that it provides so many opportunities that you don't even realize when you first get into this, especially the amount of transferable skills that you can obtain. And so I'm really passionate about introducing that to other Black women and giving them that opportunity to work on that side of human resource development. I was excited when Tommy asked me to be a part of this because I am always about mobilization. And I think that there are several lanes in which that you can approach this. And I'm in a headspace right now where I'm ready to do action-oriented tasks. So that's why I'm here. So Tommy just introduced, first of all, I just want to thank Tommy for putting this together and the framework for it, and for also being very conscious about elevating Black voices. I appreciate how thoughtful he is around that. He showed you the framework for what we're hoping to do. Like he said, it's really still nebulous. We're still figuring things out. And there are some things in the chat I want to address in case you guys haven't seen that. But before I go there, I want you all to know that this is very sensitive content that we're handling. And I understand that, like I said, I'm passionate about mentorship and upskilling and giving people opportunities to create things that they can show, to show your work. But the content we're dealing with is sensitive and the timing is sensitive. And I want us all to be very intentional about how we approach it and to remember that quality control is going to be very important. And that if we're going to put this name on it, and if you're going to attribute yourself to what we're doing, I want you to be in a space where you're comfortable with the kind of discussions that we have here, that they're going to be raw and that they're going to be honest, and we're not going to tiptoe around issues. And so if you're on board with that, that's great. If you're uneasy about it, I just want you to be honest with yourself about that. We're not going to demonize you for that, but like people lose people over this kind of information. Mm-hmm. People lose friends and family members over this. You're ostracized. Your job could be put on the line for this kind of stuff. So I want you to be clear about that. And I know we're all ready and pumping and our blood is hot because of what we see. But Tommy is trying to build something and I am trying to build something that is long lasting. Yes. And I want to be clear about that. So we need your buy-in in a way that it might look a little different than it would for other projects. So I just wanted to make that absolutely clear to everyone. Also, I think a lot of times we approach these things and we're thinking, okay, we're going to do what we can to solve racism. And honestly, that is a very big task. And these are systemic, institutionalized things. And so rather than the simple approach of let's solve racism, we have to really dismantle individual practices or help people do that. And so your content should also reflect steps for that. I've been having some conversations with DEI professionals, diversity, equity, and inclusion professionals, about how to approach this systematically. And they will hopefully will be included in our QA and QC process as well, so that we have content that scales well. So you're going to see a lot of companies right now that are going to show you that how they're going to solve racism, how they're going to do anti-bias training and all of that. But I'm afraid that the iterations of it now doesn't work in the way that they think. And I'm hoping that we can approach it a little differently. So yeah, that is my passion stance for this and how I am going to be approaching things. Now, yeah. Going to the chat real fast, a couple questions that came up. So somebody asked, Toddy asked, once the projects are completed and ready, will a marketing page with a blog post go up? It would go a long way. Maybe something we can post each week. And I think that's a great idea. We do have some marketing people in the group, and we're hoping to reach out to them to get them to take ownership over that as well. Because branding is going to be important. Even in talking to people right now, I realize we do need to package this in a nice, so we have an elevator pitch, right?
Yep.
So that we can quickly get things to people. So that was a great point. Another thing someone said was, will there be SMEs, Valerie asked this, will there be SMEs evaluating the content or some type of QC measures before the learning products go live? Of course. Yes. Like I said, very sensitive content. I don't want it to look like we're just writing a coattails here. Like I said, this is something that we are dedicated to for a while. So the content with all our names attached to it has to be on point.
Yes.
So definitely things will be QA, QC'd. Mm-hmm. So yes, there will be content review and product review before we release anything. So yeah, I think that's pretty much anything. If there's anything else, I am looking at the chat. If there's anything else you want to ask, I'll answer them for you there, so Tommy can focus on the video here.
It's okay. No, I just want to thank you all so much. I'm going to try to respect everyone's time in terms of meetings. I wanted to bring us all together though this week to say that we are taking this seriously. We are getting media attention. This is an exciting moment. It's a moment of great pain and desperation. I'm losing friends. I dropped out of grad school for this, because this is what I want, where I want to be right now in this moment. And I hope that's why everyone else is here too. And if so, you know, we will work together to really make this a statement, you know. So thank you all so much. Thanks for bearing with me on this first Zoom call. I'm figuring this out as I go too. So we're going to be reaching out via Slack. If you know anyone who has signed up or hasn't joined the Slack, please encourage them to do so. All communication will be going through Slack. I'll post some updates to LinkedIn, but that's mainly so because I want the world to see all the wonderful work you're doing. So that's really what LinkedIn's for, and then Slack will be for internal stuff. All right, thanks everybody. I'm going to post the recording of this. Not that I expect anyone to go watch that after my performance. But thank you, Nyla. You're so good at this. And have a wonderful evening, and we'll be in touch soon. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.